Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. We got a really good one for you today. This one is one of the best. We did this a few months ago and probably had the most views we've ever had. So we're going to revisit this one today. I want to thank y'all for joining us today. And I want to congratulate Corky for the best fish report. He made the best fish report on our website, Your Saltwater Guide. So, Corky, you're going to get $100 Venmo or Zelle to you as soon as the show is over. So, thank you very much, Corky. Great fish report. Excellent. And that's all it takes, gang. You just got to do the little things in life to win free stuff. And Captain Dave's giving away free stuff all the time. Those of you that are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, you cannot see what I'm wearing today, but I'm wearing one of my T-shirts, Your Saltwater Guide shirt. Remember, if you're at the Pacific Coast Sport Fishing Show, remember, if you're at the Pacific Coast Sport Fishing Show and you show up with one of these shirts on, you're getting free stuff. You're going to want one of these shirts anyway because only the cool kids are wearing these shirts, and you want to be one of the cool kids. So make sure you get one of these shirts before the show, the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th of March at the Orange County Fairgrounds. I will be there speaking on stage every day. If you've never seen one of my seminars live and in person, you're in store for something you've never witnessed before in your life. It's not the normal. There's not a lot of you knows and ums and you knows. I know exactly what I'm going to talk about, and I talk about exactly what I want to talk about. And I know I offend a lot of people in the audience, but I make a lot of people laugh. So if you want to come to a phenomenal show, there's going to be all kinds of other stuff going on. Lots of good seminars with lots of good captains. I will be there. My beautiful wife will be there. We'll have a nice booth. You can come by and check us out. That's the Pacific Coast Sport Fishing Festival, the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th of March. Don't miss out. Get those tickets early. You don't want to miss out on this show. It's going to be epic. Gang, we're going to do another contest real quick, and then we'll get into the show. Gang, it's real easy. If you're a member of Your Saltwater Guide, my Facebook page, it's all about stars. Supposedly, there's a whole bunch of stars laying around that Facebook's giving you for free. You want to go over there and you want to send those stars to Captain Dave. They're free. You're supposed to have a bunch of them. That's what Mark Zuckerberg's telling me. He's giving stars to all of you to move them over to me. Gang, if you give me your stars from now until New Year's Day, on New Year's Day, we're going to do a live show because I can't even believe yesterday on Facebook alone, we had 500,000 views. So that just tells me that New Year's Day is going to be insane. So we're going to have a great show for you on New Year's Day in between the football games at 12 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. I'll have a phenomenal show for you, and we'll give away another $100 to one lucky winner. All you got to do is go get the stars on Facebook and give them to me. It's that easy. It's very simple. And then we'll pick one person out of the people that gave us the stars. Now, those of you on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, I don't know why you're not on Facebook. I know it's scary to go over there and sign up for something for free, but we have over 200,000 followers on Facebook. There's nothing to be afraid of. Just go over there, sign up, give me some stars, and you got a chance to win $100, and I give away the money. Ask Sean Doyle. I gave him $1,000 this year during that wide open Dorado bite. So check it out, yoursaltwaterguide.com. Everything you need to be successful when you go fishing right over there. And we're going to start right now with the show, gang. We're talking about tuna fishing. I don't know if you've noticed in the last couple of years, but the tuna fishing in Southern California has been nothing but incredible. That's all I can say is that it's been absolutely incredible. But I grew up in the sport fishing industry. My father's been doing it for a living since 1947. And I fished tuna for a living all through the 80s and then into the 90s And the way we did it back in those days was the boat would leave at midnight or 10 o'clock at night, and we'd drive 7 or 8 hours to get down to the tuna grounds. And then we would fish till 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and then turn around and drive all the way back 7 or 8 hours back to the dock. And that's how we did it for year after year, month after month, day after day. That's just the way we did it. Nowadays, that tuna is 2-3 hours from the harbor, and it bites at night, it bites in the day, bites in the morning, it bites in the afternoon. And the biggest thing, I couldn't even imagine having to do it for a living now, because there's no off time, gang. If you're a deckhand or a captain or a cook, you're on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. When you're out there fishing, you're on the whole time. There's no downtime like there used to be. It's amazing the amount of hours that go in. And just, if you think about all that and what's going on in the world today, and pretty much nobody wants to work. And we all know that. Those of us that own businesses, believe me, you can't find anybody. They all say they want to work until it's time to work. And then they all have an excuse for why they can't do it. They can't be there. They can't do it. But what we're talking about today is tuna fishing in Southern California. I don't know what's going on in the East Coast. I don't know what's going on in the Panhandle. I don't know what's going on in the Gulf of Mexico. All I know is what's going on in Southern California. And it is 24 hours a day tuna fishing. It is absolutely gnarly, gang. They go 2-3 hour drive most of the time, stop, and the fish start biting right away. It's pretty absolutely amazing. But here's where the disconnect, and here's where we're going to talk about today. And this is what causes a lot of controversy, but it has to be talked about. It has to be said. And you need to know about this, because this is super important in the industry, gang. And it's going to help everybody in the industry, and it's going to help you out tremendously. As I grew up in the sport fishing industry, and I got lucky and got my captain's license at a pretty young age, and I got to run the boats, and I got to be involved in the industry my whole life. And here's one of the big questions we get asked all the time, and I know that we still get asked this today because I get asked it in the private boating world, is they guys will come up in the bridge or meet me in the galley or something and say, "Hey, Cap, what's a good tip?" And this is something that no one understands. When you go out to a restaurant, gang, and I know a lot of you went out to restaurants the last couple of days during the holidays, you already plan on, if you get good service and if it's impeccable service, you already have budgeted in 20% tip. You've already budgeted in a 20% tip at a restaurant or a bar. And why did you do that? Because we've been taught that since we were little kids. In California, I'm not talking about Europe, or I'm not talking about Canada. I'm talking about the United States of America. We all are taught at an early age that it's all about tipping. It's all about the tip, and we know that if we have a good experience at a restaurant or bar, we're tipping 20%. We already know that, okay? But when you go out on a boat, and let's just say you went on a day boat, and it was $200, and you were planning on, you thought, oh, well, I went to the restaurant and I tipped 20%. You think that's the tip? Gang, I'm going to help you. All I'm trying to do is help you. You don't have to leave a bunch of crappy comments. All I'm trying to do is make you understand what's going on. Most sport boats today have 4 crew members, and the overnight boats have 5. They have 2 captains. They have the first captain, then they have the second captain, then they'll usually have 3 deckhands, okay? And a cook. Most boats today, the cook is separate from the crew. If it was my boat, it would never be that way. Any boat I ever ran, we're all part of the deal. The cook can make or break the people's trip. They can make or break it all day long. The attitude of the cook is a really unbelievable part of the whole scenario of fishing on a sport boat. That's why I always included the tips for the cook with the tips for the crew, and same with the crew. The tips for the crew get split up with the cook. But if you think about it like this, let's just say you go on a day boat and it's $200. And you went out there and the captain worked his butt off and the crew worked their butt off. They didn't sit around smoking cigarettes all day, chit-chatting, playing grab ass. They were actually involved in talking to you and checking your drags and tying your knots and doing all the things good deckhands do. And all day you fished and you fished hard and you didn't catch anything. How are you going to tip? Are you going to tip according to what you caught? Do you honestly, in your heart, think I work harder when the fish are biting? Or do I work harder when the fish aren't biting? I hope you all understand the answer is we work way harder when they're not biting. Anybody that fishes for a living and on anywhere, East Coast, West Coast, when it's catch time, we all know how to catch. We know how to catch really, really well. We can throw the fish on the boat quick. We can catch lots of fish very, very quickly, and we're very, very good at it. Why would you ever tip according to what you caught? I don't understand it, but I see it every day, and I hear about it every day. Now, if you went on a boat and the boat sucked and the crew sucked and the boat was filthy dirty and the cook has an attitude and everybody has an attitude and you didn't catch anything, or you did catch, but the people all had an attitude, hey, absolutely, let's tip according to the attitude. I am on your team 100%. But listen, nowadays, most boats, there's just a couple I won't talk about, but there's a couple that are just, they don't get it. But most boats today, they run a tip-top, high-end operation, and they already know that because they know everyone's fighting for you to come out on their boat with them. So they're all operating at a high level. But here's where the disconnect comes. No one's ever taught you how to tip. You don't know how to tip. You don't know what the proper tip is. And I'm just going to try to help you, whether you want to listen or not. It doesn't matter. I'm going to help you. You can listen. You don't have to listen. I don't care. If you go on a boat and it costs $200, but they have 5 crew members, because most boats do, let's be honest. You give them $40. The trip was $400 or $200, and you tip 20%. You gave them $40 because that's what you're going to do. You're going to give them $40. That's the tip. They split that up 5 ways. That $40 that you gave them, the 2 20s, now they're going to split that up 5 ways. Or let's just, for fun, for easy math, let's just say we're going to split it up 4 ways. It's way easier for me. I didn't go to school, so it's easier for me to do that. Divide by 4. That means you went out on the boat and you thought the crew did an epic job and you really had a good time, and everybody on the boat was super nice. The captain was very informative all day, let you know what was going on. The crew was right there to help you with anything you needed. The cook had a phenomenal attitude. It made you the best food you've ever eaten. And you had a great day, and you tipped them $5 a piece. That's got to make you feel kind of crappy inside because you didn't understand. And I know that because no one's ever broke it down to you. Any boat you go on, the tips are split up evenly. So what is a good tip? 20% to each deckhand. Yeah. You give the one deckhand $40, the other deckhand $40, the captain 40, and the other captain 40. That's a great tip. Now everybody feels like you appreciated what they did. If you go to the finest restaurant in all of the world and you have phenomenal service and you were there for 1 hour, that wait staff, if you broke it down, they may have spent 10 whole minutes, but that's a long time. The average is 7 minutes. That's what they say. But they may have spent 10 whole minutes in that hour you were in the restaurant with you. And you got no problem tipping that wait staff $40 for a $200 meal. Let's think about that for a minute. That deckhand, that captain, the crew, they were with you for 20 hours. 20 hours, gang, and you thought that all they deserved was $5 whole. Gang, I'm just trying to help you understand how it all works. You do whatever you want to do. And if you say, oh, they should pay the crew more, oh, they should pay the captain more, listen, I don't know if you've noticed the price of fuel today. I don't know if you've noticed the price of everything today. If we charged you what we felt that we needed to charge you to pay our crew, you wouldn't go. You couldn't afford to go. The whole industry is built around tips. That's how it's all been built. That's how the restaurant industry is. And that's how the sport boat, charter boat industry is. It's built around the tips to take care of the crew. That is just the bottom line. That is just the way it is, gang. And I told you I was going to hurt some of your feelings today. But what we were talking about in the beginning with this tuna thing, and those of you that went tuna fishing this year, you already know what I'm talking about. You got on the boat. You guys went to the bait barge. You got bait. On the way out, you tied your hooks on. You checked your line. You talked to the deckhands. You checked your drag. You got all your rods set up. You got everything put away. You got your tackle put away. You went downstairs and you laid down for an hour. And then the boat stopped because they marked some fish. It's pitch black dark. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. And they start fishing. And they start fishing and they fish until 2 or 3 in the afternoon. Then they got to drive the boat back to the dock, and the crew has to clean the boat and put everything away and make sure your fish are taken care of. All this stuff happens every day. That's just the way it is, gang. And then it's time to figure out what you should tip. It's real simple. Tip each individual crew member the 20%. Then everybody's happy. There's nothing to understand. There's nothing that you don't get. You can't comprehend it. You don't understand it. It's just the way it is. That's why that about 10 years ago, I put a post up on Bloody Decks. Now it's called BD Outdoors. And I talked about tipping and how you needed to tip about 50% of the trip. But I didn't break it down the way I just broke it down. And it hurt a lot of people's feelings because they didn't understand. They're like, I'm not tipping 50%. Well, gang, if you think about it, that crew, everybody, every boat in the fleet is splitting the tips 4 or 5 ways. So if you think that day out with that really good crew and that good deckhand and that good captain was worth $5, do me a favor, do the industry a favor. Don't go anymore. You don't get it. You don't know how this industry works. We understand that, and not everybody's going to get it. But in order for us to keep good deckhands and good crew members and good captains and everything else, it's imperative that you learn the proper way to tip. And I know there's a lot of people listening, and there's a lot of people in the industry that watch our show every single day. And I don't care if you're on the East Coast, the West Coast, Mexico, wherever you are, whatever boat you go fishing on, you've got to understand that their whole life and their whole livelihood depends upon that tip that you're going to give. So please make sure you bring enough money to take care of the crew. Now, I'm not telling you to tip them if they suck. If they suck, they suck. Don't tip them. Don't go back on that boat. But there's good boats, and there's only a couple of bad boats nowadays. There's really not a lot of bad boats. There's only a couple that you would never, ever see me go on. We can get into that on a different note. You can send me an email, a text. I will tell you who they are and why, and you can make your own decision. But from this point forward, you will never not know about how to tip. You're going to have it. It's going to be embedded in your brain. And like I say all the time, the only reason we know how to tip at a restaurant is because we were taught since we were little kids. Our parents taught us. We used to see our parents put the money out on the tray when we were all done, and we go, what's that for? Well, son, that's a tip. These people work hard, and they expect a tip, and that's what we do. And they get taxed on those tips. Same thing with the sport fishing industry, gang. And they're working their butts off. And today, from today forward, never ever tip for what you caught. That is the worst thing you could possibly do. When I leave the dock on any trip ever, I want to catch fish more than my passengers do. I'm so into it, and it's so much fun. And you watch my videos. I'm 61 years old, and I scream like a little kid the whole time we're catching fish. I am super excited about it. But do you think I fish harder when we catch or when we don't catch? I fish way harder when we don't catch. And I fish right up to the last second. And sometimes we pull the rabbit out of the hat right at the last second, and some days we don't get bit. But you can come up in my bridge anytime and see how hard I'm working. And I think most of the guys in the industry are going to tell you the same thing. They want to catch fish more than you do. So that's what I'm going to leave you all with today. I told you this one was going to touch a lot of people. And now you know how to tip. There'll never be a question, hey, how should I tip? Now you know. All right, gang, thank you very much for joining us today. Don't forget, go to my website, Your Saltwater Guide, and go to the store and get your shirts so that you have them to wear at the show. Also, don't forget Baja Jerky, one of our biggest sponsors, BajaJerky.com. Go to BajaJerky.com, order up your Baja Jerky, and on your way out the door, put in the code YSWG and the number 30. You'll save 30% on whatever you order. That's insane. And they got bitchin' seasoning salts. They got dried mango. They have several different flavors of jerky. The amount of stuff that you see when you go over to Baja Jerky is absolutely mind-boggling. I want you to go there. I want you to check it out. I want you to order some, and I want you to put in the code YSWG and save yourself 30% on what you order. All right? Go there, order, put in the code YSWG and the number 30, and you'll save 30%. Then you'll have money to tip with when you go out on a sport boat the next time. Thank you all. I cannot express how much I appreciate each and every one of you and each and every view. It's absolutely amazing the amount of action that I get every day on the internet, and it's only because of all of you. So thank you very much. Have a great day. Love you, Chuck. Love you, Jack. See you guys. Bye. See ya. Adios. Thank you very much. Corky, good job, man. Great report.